And good evening. We're live from Beck's on the Bayou for Inside Trojan Athletics right here on KLEB, 102.7 FM and 1600 AM. Coach Brian Callais here with Casey Gisclair. Boss man, how we doing?
Doing fine, man. It's been a wonderful day. Happy to be here. We'll be talking some Central Lafourche area high school and middle school sports for the next 2 hours. Can't wait. Should be fun.
Yeah, we'll be here to about 8 o'clock. If you out in the area, stop by, come have a steak. It's steak night, steak and sports here at Beck's on the Bayou. The steak you're going to get is
delicious.
It smells delicious, and it's definitely worth your money.
Absolutely, and a big old crowd is here taking advantage of the steak night opportunity.
We're going to go ahead. We're going to talk some Trojan athletics a little bit later in the show, but we're going to open up and we're going to talk some Bayou Blue football with Coach Emil Barn. Coach, how we doing this evening?
Oh, doing good. Thank y'all for having me.
Coach, let's first, we had you on a couple of weeks ago. Since we last had you on, y'all played 2 games. Let's go ahead and tackle the Golden Medal game first. Things didn't go your way, but your kids played hard the entire game.
Oh, they absolutely did. We had to really make some moves around on the team because we had some key injuries that happened. One of our key players, he's out for the season with a broken collarbone. That happened during the Lockport game. So he's out for the season. We had another one that had an injury in practice and dislocated his elbow.
Oh.
So we lost our 2 starting tailbacks, and they also were playing in our secondary. So we really had to make some adjustments within that last week to get into Golden Medal. And our kids made those adjustments, and they did the best that they could going into that game. And super proud of the way they played. They played hard. They played together. Played for each other, and I was really happy about that.
And Coach, in that game, y'all kept it close for the first half. Then they go up and they score, but you guys had that long run and a great hustle play by Golden Medal. I mean, they stopped your guy around the 5 or so.
Right.
And just talk about that sequence where y'all couldn't put it in. A few penalties and turnover snaps.
Right. That the run was something we saw that we had noticed in the beginning because they pretty much held that ball for the third period. We had them on a 4th and 11. Their fullback, you can't tackle high. We tried to tackle him high, and he got a first down. So, and that kind of took the wind out of our sails a little bit. They went score, but let's get back on offense. Well, we had noticed in the first half running our QB on a power with our tailback leading was a really good play for us in that first half, and we did it, and that's what broke that long play. And it's hard when you don't have a guy or a couple guys that can break that long thing. But so when you're behind, when you get down to the goal line and you back another 5 yards because you have a penalty, because you have that issue. And that came in, and we had too many people in the huddle. Somebody went in, and that was another thing of rotating guys in that hadn't had that experience yet, and that caused us to get back in that.
Shout out that young man, that quarterback, because he came in and he had some tough runs.
It's tough.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Jalen Antoine, he's a 7th grader. Both our QBs are 7th graders.
Wow.
And we actually played a 6th grade running back. We had an 8th grade running back. 2 7th grade running backs, and we had a 6th grade running back that came in and was able to, and he did really well coming in, and he's a tough kid also. So we had to have a lot of moving parts, a lot of new guys coming in and get to take opportunities. Same thing on our defense. We had some guys that had to came in and take some opportunities for the guys that were out due to injury.
Coach, let me ask you this, man. You guys are a younger crew, as you've mentioned, a less experienced crew, as you mentioned. And early in the game, you guys called 2 timeouts right out of the gate, 1 on offense, I believe 1 on defense. What was the message? I'm sure it was, hey, settle down, relax, let's stay focused. What were you telling those guys early in the game to try to keep them focused?
Well, the first timeout was from the defensive standpoint. We were getting offside. So it's like, look, stay in. The snap count. Watch the ball. We don't need to watch. We're not listening for the snap. We're just watching for the snap. We're not listening to the count. So make sure you're mindful of what you're doing, when you're there. And then on the offensive side, a lot of that was just trying to make sure we had the right personnel in there because of the different personnel we were going in there. And so it was a little confusing for them right off the bat. So I had to call a timeout, make sure we're in the right situation, and we had the right personnel there, and we had the right play called, make sure we're never where we need to be.
Talk about the play of your offensive line where they were going up against a much bigger Golden Medal front.
Right.
Talk about those guys working hard.
What we did was we knew they were going to be big, so double teams were going to be important. And so we worked that all week. So we knew it going in, and so we worked it all week. Where are our double teams? Where we were going to get these double teams. So that's what we worked on. And I think they did a really good job of that. Our tight ends did well to make sure that they were getting double teams where they needed to have them. And we just worked on that communication of where we were going to pick up those double teams and where were they going to come from.
And just talk about the overall attitude of your team, because you guys may have been kind of outmanned or outsized for sure, but they never gave up. They continue working hard, and also they take coaching from you guys, and you can see that's obvious.
Right. Oh, this is a great group of young men, and then they come in and they want to learn. And that's the whole aspect, because we have even 8th graders who haven't played football before. This is the first year. They're athletic, right? But they were like soccer players, basketball players. So we got them, recruiting them to come and play. And so they're asking questions, and we tell them, you need to ask questions. You don't know something, ask. So we can tell you and we can coach you on what to do. And that's where the experience comes in the different games. Their Golden Meadows' last touchdown run, our cornerback knew it because we had coached him all week. Stay outside, this is your thing, and he knew it. When he bit inside and he tried to go, and you could tell he's he's first year playing. He's an athletic guy. He's a great kid. He's a great young man, and he works hard, and he does it. He just, that experience of understanding, I got to stay there. This is where my position is. He bit inside, and he took it to the house.
No doubt, man. Hey, look, you guys did force some turnovers, some big turnovers, plus territory turnovers. And I'm sure that got to be a point of emphasis in future weeks. Keep trying to pull that ball out and get some extra possessions, right?
It's one of the things we work on our defensive days are turnovers, so we want to create them. We want to get the ball back. So we've had, unfortunately, our starting tailback and he's starting corner, who went out for the season because of the broken collarbone. He's had 2 interceptions already this year before his injury. So we kind of emphasize the turnovers. Let's get the ball back, put the ball into our offense's hands, and let's go drive the ball down the field.
And talk about the patience you and your coaching staff you'll have to have this year, because last year you were way more athletic than what you are this year.
Right.
And just talk about that patience you need with the learning curve that you 6th and 7th graders have to have.
Right. Well, you continue going, you continue teaching, you continue giving opportunities, right? You want them to have opportunities in the game. You want them to have opportunities to make mistakes. That's where you learn. You're going to fail. You're going to have those opportunities where you're just going to, like talking about biting inside, and that's going to happen. So now, when that happens in the game, now you're going to be like, okay, I know this is not going to. This is what I have to do. I have to do what I'm coached. I have to do my job that I have there. So, and that's all through experience. It's all through experience in the game, and you have to be patient. You can't just jump on them hard because they made the mistake, because you could work it all day in practice. You could work it every day. When the lights come on, that's a different animal altogether. So you have to go through that experience in order to, and they'll see a success as they start to learn through that.
What's this week look like? Who you guys got, and what are some things you guys are trying to do well to try to get that first win?
Well, we have E.D. White this week, which is a challenge. 53 8th graders that they have. We're starting some 6th graders. Yep. We're starting a 6th grader on our defense this week. We got 7th graders that are starting. Both our linebackers are 7th graders. And picking up on a lot of what we're trying to teach them how to do. So we're hoping they take a step. Let's take a good step of understanding and that experience they've had through the first 3 weeks of football. Let's see you take that step. And those guys that are having to come in due to injury and they're getting their opportunity, here's your opportunity. Show what you got. Play with those guys, play for those guys that are on the team, and let's see where you are. And
you bring up a point where E.D. White, people need to understand, that's all 8th graders.
That's right.
Every one of them.
Everyone.
So you're going to have some 6th graders going up against 8th graders this week.
That's right. So it's all a learn. And look, the 6th graders we want to put up, these are guys that have been working. These are guys that have been showing in practice. They're going up against 8th graders in practice. They're going up against 7th graders in practice. So they're showing that they have something they can bring to the table. Now let's see when the lights are on, 6 o'clock. How are you going to play? How are you going to do? So same thing with our 7th graders and our inexperienced 8th graders. Now there's just another opportunity to show what we've been working, to play together, play for each other, and let's go out there and play some Gator football and be the best we can be.
E.D. White this week. Who y'all have next week?
Next week is Raceland, which is another. That's a huge test. And we know what Raceland has. They have speed. They have size. They're an experienced group. So that's another challenge for us. And look, we never shy away from challenges.
Yeah.
Right. We're never going to shy away from them. We're never going to back away. We're never going to make excuses. We're not a team that makes excuses. Even though with injuries and different things like that, not using it as an excuse. It's the next guy that's got to come up. That next guy's got to be ready. That next guy has got to come in and play the best he can at that position that he's going in.
Let me ask you this. We've had Coach Wiltz on this program, and he's told us that he would strongly be in favor of an end-of-the-season playoff and or championship game or whatever it may be. I'm sure you've heard a lot of those conversations. From your perspective as the Bayou Blue head football coach, is that something you would be in favor of in the future?
We've actually had one. We did it. In 2012, they had one. Every team played 6 games, and they took, I think it was the top 4 teams, and they played a playoff then. And then it just went away. And I think it became where certain teams weren't having the same amount of home games, and so the money wasn't being generated the same because our programs are funded through gate and through those things. I was always in favor of it. Same thing in basketball. We used to have a end of the year tournament, and we did that for a while, and then they got rid of it for whatever reason it was. But I like a playoff. I think that's for us last year that would have been great because I think we were playing our best ball at the end of the season. So we have those types of teams, and you can see those.
And the logistics, you can easily fit that in. You start 1 week early, then a week longer.
Right. And you can. And look, we're 8 teams now in the league. We used to be 9, so the season was a little bit longer. So now the season, even if you took the top 2 teams and played something of like the BCS championship back in the day, if you took like the top 2 and played them, you can do a championship like that.
And look, you can take even the top 4, and let's say the 4th place team. Their principal says, well, we don't want to play in it. Just take the 5th place.
Right. You could do
find you 4 teams, and I think it would be great.
I always thought it was an exciting way to do things. I think we did it. I know we did it in 2012. I'm not sure if we did it in 2013. I think it was at least 1 year we tried it, and then they ended up voting it out to stop it. So, I'm for more games. I like competition. I like to see those types of things. I'm excited for Raceland and Lockport. Because I was talking with Andre. It's like, when was the last time a team from the Central Lafourche area won a parish championship in football? And I'm thinking the last one I know of was 2001 Raceland.
Wow.
2001 Raceland. So I'm pumped up for Raceland Lockport because I think that's going to be the game that's going to determine.
It very well could.
Do you know when that game is scheduled?
I know it's the last one. It's the last one. I don't know. It would be the week of October 27th.
It's Halloween week.
Yeah, Halloween week. Yeah.
And I don't know if they play in the Thursday or not.
I know we played a Monday. We played a Monday against 6th Ward at Central. So I don't know. That would be Central. It'd probably be a Monday. It would either be a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
That's what's happening. Halloween's on a Friday.
Right.
So many schools are moving their Friday game to Thursday.
To Thursday, right.
That game may have to be.
So it'd be either Tuesday or Wednesday. So I don't know. I don't know their schedule right away. But like I said, I'm excited for.
I guess so, man.
That game for that.
Let me ask you this. Okay, so you got E.D. White and Raceland coming up. You don't have the size to replicate E.D. White's size in practice. You probably don't have the speed to replicate Raceland's speed in practice. How do you get them ready when you can't make a scout team that does what they do? Does that make sense?
Right. No. Well, you pick your fastest guy and you put them where you think those guys are going to be. So that's what you do. I think when you look at speed, you look at how can you get leverage formation, like when you do it for defense. So if we're playing defense and we want to against their pistol wing tee that they normally run, so how we're going to get leverage on those teams. So that's something that we work. And making sure that we have the guys doing their jobs to maintain that leverage where, like, again, we don't want our cornerbacks or our safeties biting inside. We want to take care. We want to make sure, are you maintaining your leverage? Are you maintaining your position? Are you doing what you need to do? We got guys inside. They got to do their job. You have to do their job. If they're not doing their job, then we're going to fix them. We got to make sure you're doing your job and make sure we maintain that leverage on the outside.
100%.
Because we can't, you're not going to replicate the speed. It's not going to happen. But what we can do is make sure we can stop that speed and try to get leverage on that offense.
Yeah, basketball-wise, a little different. When I was coaching basketball, we were getting ready to play Ellender. I mean, they're so quick on the court and pressing. We would break out press against like 8, 9, or 10 people on the floor.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Because you can't get that speed in practice.
You can't, and it's hard to replicate that. So you do things like you said, like we would do a power hour where we'll start off with 11 guys on a defense, and then we'll go, all right, put a 12, all right, put a 13. I remember last year we got up to 22 against our 11.
Wow!
And we were still getting getting our 3 yards. And so that's what we do. So to try to build, number one, it builds confidence. If you get 3 yards off of 22 guys, that builds confidence.
Yeah.
But you do things like that to try to build, especially against bigger teams than you. You want to try to bring. Look, let's go up against that. If we get yards on this, then those 11, we shouldn't have an issue.
Coach, give us the time and day of the game this week.
It's Wednesday, 6 o'clock at Central Lafourche High School.
Again, and that's against
E.D. White. E.D. White this week.
Give us a couple of keys for victory.
They got some guys. Number 17, Hildenbrand for E.D. White.
Yes.
He's a guy. We got to make sure that we're noticing where he's at on the field, because they'll split him out in a bunch set, and they'll try to get the ball to him. Their fullback is pretty decent too, and he pound the ball hard, and we got to make sure that we're ready for that. I mean, we got young linebackers, but they understand this is what we need to do. This is how we need to tackle. Especially last week, we were tackling low last week in the first half. Second half, started tackling high. And so they understand that we got to make sure we maintain good pad level when we're making tackles, when we're doing what we need to do. So those are some things. They like to get the ball out to their receivers. They like to try to throw some quick screens to outside. They'll just air it out. So our cornerbacks know that, hey, look, we got to make sure that receiver don't get behind us. We're playing good position on them too,
Coach, thanks so much for the time.
Oh, thank you for having me, as always.
Look, feel free if you want to stick around. Maybe coming in the next segment, we're just going to be shooting the bull about some middle school, high school athletics in the next segment. So feel free to hang around if you want to join in with us.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome. All right.
Right, that was Coach Emil Bourne with Bayou Blue Middle School. Getting his team, they're improving. Those guys play extremely hard.
Yep, they do.
During the game, and you can tell it's a great group of young men to coach. And they're taking on E.D. White. They're taking on E.D. White on the Wednesday. It's going to be a big challenge because E.D. White, like we mentioned, is all 8th graders, and he's going to have some 6th graders going up against these 8th graders, and it's going to be a challenge.
It is a challenge. There's no doubt about it. But, as he said, it's a growing pain towards the process of getting better. Those 6th and 7th graders who are going to be out there, and even those inexperienced 8th graders that he was talking about, are going to be better for that matchup, be better for that opportunity, and they'll be giving up some size. They'll be giving up, a little experience in some cases, but that only makes you better in the longer run later this season, and then also ultimately, which is the end goal, is going to make you better when you get to Central Lafourche in the future for sure.
Yeah, boy, he was talking about different things you can do on the middle school level to get your team ready to play. And I brought back some memories back when I was at LCO where we were going up against our scout team running plays, and let's say we're going to go 10 plays. Well, every play we ran, we had to gain 10 yards, and we moved the ball down the field. We'd have to gain 10 yards. If we go 2 plays, we gain 10, the ball would be at the 20. The next play, if we gain 8, come back to the goal line, start over. So the thing was, we're going up against our scout team. If we have to get 10 yards
every play.
Every play.
What happened if they didn't?
We'd start over.
Back you start over. Line. Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
okay.
Back to the goal line.
Wow.
And you set a mindset.
Yeah.
And because you should gain 2 or 3 yards against your scout team.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get 10. If not, we're coming back.
Well, I like what Coach Bourne was saying in that, last year with that big old 8th grade heavy group, they were going against 22 and were getting 3 and 4 yards. How could you justify not getting yardage on 11 when in practice you're getting it on 22? So, it builds confidence, man. It instills belief in those young men for sure. It
does, and hopefully in the near future we can maybe get a playoff game or a couple of games on the middle school level. It would be great.
Look, everybody that we've talked to seems to be in favor. Coach Bourne brought up a great point a second ago, which is that the season now is naturally 1 week shorter because we have one less Thibodeau school. So even that is beneficial towards doing this. I really think this was a situation where, the people who wanted it were just kind of whispering, and they would never really come to a vote. I think there's enough momentum and traction now that if we push to do this again, I think we could probably get it done.
Yeah, and hopefully it will, because it gives these kids something to play for.
Yep, absolutely.
So let's go ahead and take a break. When we get back from our break, we're going to have Coach Bourne, see if he comes back and join us. And Case and I, we're going to talk some high school sports in this area and middle school sports of what may be coming in the future, a very big game in this area.
No doubt.
All right, so Mr. Jason, let's go ahead and take a 3-minute break. When we get back, we're going to continue on Inside Trojan Athletics right here on KLEB.
Left or what? I just saw you walk out, man.
Welcome back to Inside Trojan Athletics right here on KLEB. Coach Brian Callais here along with Casey Gisclair. And let's thank some of our sponsors. We want to thank Bex on the Bayou, State Representative District 55 Brian Fontenot, Como Plumbing, A1 Bail Bonds of Louisiana, and Raceland Auto Center. Just a few of our sponsors helping us out, bringing Inside Trojan Athletics to the Matthews community. Casey, we're going to just chat a little bit about some middle school, a possibility that could happen at the end of October where Lockport and Raceland could both be undefeated and playing for the parish championship.
Yeah, man. They're both 3-0. They're both doing really good things. They both have some skins on the wall and some big wins. Raceland defeated EDY. Lockport defeated Thibodaux. And, looking forward to chatting with both coaches today and getting their thoughts, because I know they're also amped up about the potential, but very cautious because they don't want their boys to look too far ahead, because there are some bear traps along the way that could snatch up in this parish.
Yeah, it's for sure one game at a time, and coaching staffs are going to have their hands full with trying to make sure the kids are not looking ahead or even talking about that game, but we can do it.
Yep, it's our job.
And we'll see. And that game is going to be played the week of Halloween, and Halloween is on a Friday. So a lot of varsity games are being moved to the Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Their game is scheduled for Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Now, throwing this out there, if there's any way where they would want to move their game to be the only game in town and play that on a Wednesday, I think the gate would be outrageous.
Yeah, I think it would too. I mean, I don't know if that's realistic. I don't know if that's feasible. There's a lot of logistics. You got to organize the stadium and referees and all that. But if it could be done, my goodness gracious, you're right. It would be an unbelievable show.
And because a lot of middle schools on Tuesday played on the Wednesday, and you should get pretty much the officials you want.
Yeah,
they should. Well, we're just throwing that out there. That's just something that it would be great to see for the community.
Yep, sure.
Because that stadium at Central Lafourche is going to be jam-packed.
Sure. Yeah, I think it'd be wonderful.
Yeah. So let's transition over to Trojan football for a little bit. A couple of weeks ago, they traveled down the Bayou to take on the Tarpons of South Lafourche, and they came away with a loss, 42-41. Well-played game on offense. Both defenses kind of struggled a little bit. But Central had to be walking away from that game kind of like shaking their head because they had chances.
Yeah, and it showed, man. It feels like it kind of laid over and hung over into the next week when they play Thibodaux and it doesn't go as well. But, yeah, they had every opportunity, man. And Coach Vedros said it went down exactly how they wanted. They were able to save a timeout. They were confident they would get into field goal range. They did. And the what if is going to forever be, what if they catch that little 9-yard hitch, call their timeout, and that field goal's 10 yards closer? Who knows? He would have maybe had the leg. He would have maybe been able to line it up, and we might be talking about a completely different setup instead of the Trojans being 1-3.
Yeah, look, we spoke with Coach Pop earlier, and we're going to get to him later this evening, where when South scored, they were playing for the field goal.
Yep.
That was what they had in mind. They had a timeout available where they were going to save it so that they didn't have to rush their field goal unit on. And you're right. If that last pass is completed, and they had one earlier on the sideline, on the Tarpon sideline, that was incomplete.
Yeah.
Those two things could have changed the outcome, the final ending of that game. But to Tarpon's credit, that didn't happen. Then Central goes ahead and takes on Thibodaux right after. It must have been hard for these guys to rebound off of a very emotional game against the Tarpons. And the Tigers of Thibodeau just took it to them.
No doubt. And look, if you're a Central Lafourche football fan, you really, if you dive into the numbers, you're not in a bad spot. Right now you're sitting 29th. You're 1-3. If you get a win against Central Catholic on Friday, you're going to be in the top 28. So you still got everything in front of you. You got to start winning, no doubt about that. But you still have some things in front of you. Stay healthy. That's the number one thing. I know Cleveland is healthy, but boy, he took a beating against Thibodeau on Friday. They were really hitting him. You got to stay healthy. You got to keep everybody pulling in the right direction. And if you're the Trojans, you're in a part of your schedule where, hey, man, it is not too bad. Central Catholic and East St. John the next 2 weeks. That's two very winnable games. Go ahead and get them both, and you're 3-3, right? Just like that.
Yeah, and, we're talking we're week 5 now, and for the Trojans with the district that they're in, Friday night's a must-win for the Trojans. They're going to have to go in there, and it's a home game, and they're going to have to avenge a loss from last year. Last year they went to Central Catholic, and they got beat on a kind of a wet field. It was drizzling a little bit. They're going to try and avenge that loss from last year, but I think it's going to be a must-win for the Trojans. You have to win that non-district game if you have any thoughts about the playoffs.
No doubt about that. But on the flip side to that, if you could get into that top 28, you feel okay because of what you just said also, is that if you're not chasing, losses don't hurt you so much because Terrebonne is 4-0, because Thibodeau is 4-0, because Destran is so strong. So if you could just get into the situation where you are in the field, losses don't hurt you as much because of how doggone good everybody in that district is.
That's a great point.
Thank you. First one of the week.
I guess that cop that stopped you.
You got listen to this.
A whole new lease on life.
Spilling all of my secrets in front of everybody here.
Mr. Speed Demon over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Their schedule is going to end up helping them a great deal in a couple of weeks. And look, now we start in week 5. Is it time to start looking at the PowerPoints?
Look what's on my screen right now. Yeah, I have already started looking. I have already started digging into the numbers. I think it's time, man. I mean, look, you still are taking it with a grain of salt, but it's becoming, at the midway point, you kind of understand what's what now. And I do think it's time where some of these coaches are starting to do a little math and figure some things out. And on Friday nights, the coaching staff at South Lafourche is probably checking, hey, did Pearl River win? The coaching staff at Central Lafourche is checking, hey, did New Iberia win? Because you're trying to get as many of those points as you can to get yourself into good position.
Exactly. And, quietly, you can just sit in your office and have a little part on the board where after week 5, you can list the 10 schools you might play. You might find where you are, go up 5, go below 5, right. And that could be a sample right there of you may play these teams. Then you wait the next week. And 1 or 2 teams may change, but for the most part, it may be one of them 10 schools. And
oh, yeah, by week 9 or week 10, you have a pretty good idea of 3 or 4. You could kind of narrow it down.
And just start thinking about what you might do. Because, look, head coaches, especially at high school level, in a lot of cases where you got to start planning, okay, we may have to travel up north for our first-round game. Well, you know what? You better reserve that bus now. Because how many schools they have in the state?
That's
300?
Exactly right.
They all going to be looking, well, a lot of them looking for transportation. So you better plan early, and you can always cancel it, but you got to have a plan that for travel.
That's exactly right. You know, all those little things. You know this. You were coaching an AD for a long time. Fans take it for granted. We don't understand what goes into it. I wouldn't understand what goes into it if I wasn't watching you do it for, last 10, 15 years of your career. Yeah, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of legwork for sure. And imagine with Coach Vedros on the Central Lafourche side, he's the head football coach and the AD. So he's got it on both ends.
You got a plan for that. Okay, we may be home. Then security and all this stuff, you got to have plans because you only have, when it's set in, the brackets may be official on Sunday morning or whenever it is, and you play that Friday. Yeah. That's not a whole lot of time, and you don't want to be spending your time all week doing that stuff and not worrying. You got to worry about coaching football.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. No doubt.
So we'll see. But, again, we have the middle school volleyball coaches couldn't be here tonight because they had games going on right now. And we understand, you got a game, you got to go to the game. A lot of these coaches, administrators, they have to be at these games if you got a home game. So we're going to catch Coach Papineau. They're going to be coming in a few. But after this break, we see Coach Jacob Roby in the house, and we're going to go ahead and have him. I know he had one of his coaches he wanted to come in also with him. So we're going to go ahead and get that interview started. But before, let's go ahead and thank Lafourche Parish School Board member, District 7, Mr. Henry Lafont, Regional Homes of Raceland, the Terry L. Hunter III Foundation, Guidry's AC, and Lafourche Parish Sheriff Craig Weber for being a part of our team and sponsoring Inside Trojan Athletics. Mr. Jason, let's go ahead and take a 3-minute break. When we get back, we're going to talk some undefeated football with the Lockport Pirates right here on KLEB.
Sorry, what's that? Oh, God.
Gotta be something. Welcome back to Inside Trojan Athletics. Coach Brian Callais here with Casey Gisclair. Now we're joined at the table by undefeated coaches right here. Lockport Pirates coach Jacob Roby and Coach Ryan Nakan. Coach, how we doing?
We're doing good, man. Thanks for having us.
Look, let's talk about, it's been 2 weeks since we had you here. Your first game was against Bayou Blue. how things went for you guys during that game.
During Bayou Blue, it went pretty well. We won the game 41-0. Picked up some big chunk yards on offense. Defense played great, shutout. Since then, we played Thibodeau Middle School. That was a very tough game, but thankfully we got out of there with a 12-6.
Yep.
12-6 victory. So yeah, it's been going good, man. Just trying to keep the train rolling.
Let's talk about that Thibodeau Middle School game. Goes into overtime. What was your message to the team? I mean, at end of the fourth quarter, it's tied. Now let's get ready for overtime, which is a 10-yard field, correct? What was your message to you guys?
Just to keep playing tough, man. It was a dogfight the whole time, and so just to keep that up, it was kind of like a war of attrition, and we were able to hold on that last stand. So we was just telling them, stay tough, keep doing what you're doing, because we were playing they scored the first play. It was a kick return for a touchdown, but other than that, we held them pretty good. They would pick up some chunk yards here and there, but once they got to the goal line, we played real stout. So we just kept, keep it up. That was sort of the message.
You brought with you Coach Ryan, Knockhand coach. Just let us know what is your responsibility on the team.
So I coach the defense. I'm the defensive coordinator, you could say. And they've been playing lights out. Like any other team, they're going to get chunk yards. It's going to happen throughout the game. And we've just been preaching to them how you respond. How are you going to respond to that?
And let's talk about that defense. How many points have y'all given up this year? Because it's not a whole bunch.
We've given up 2 defensive touchdowns.
Wow.
Throughout the whole year.
That's it.
And like today at practice, I'm like, we got to set a higher notch. So not just giving up touchdowns, we got to force turnovers. A lot of the turnovers we got were mistakes by the offense. So I want us to exceed another level to start forcing turnovers.
Now, Coach, the end of next month is potentially a big game. How do you keep your guys focused on the next game and not looking ahead to what could be?
Yeah, that's been sort of the message all week, is to not not allow your head to get too big. We don't want the win against Thibodeau to be the highlight of our season. We want to continue doing what we're doing, and we got 4 games left, and every one of them is going to be a challenge for us. And so it's just pounding that into the kids' heads, understanding that this is just a halfway point, and I think if we continue to do what we know we can do, we can end successfully with the year.
Look, I'm going to ask you to pass the mic to Coach Knockhand for just a second. Defensive coordinators usually get pretty fired up when their defense does something. I watched the last play of the game against Thibodeau when they're trying to push and then they run into that wall, then they go sideways, then when he finally blows it and says no good, what's going through your mind, Coach?
Oh, man, I was excited. That's probably the best joy I had coaching ever. For them to get a big stop on the 1-yard line in overtime, like you dream for them moments as a kid, but to be able to coach it was very special.
That's legit.
Walk us through those 4 plays at the 10. What, if you can remember, what they did first, second, third, and fourth down?
So the first play is actually the biggest yards. They got like 7 yards out of that play. And the next 3 yards, I knew coming into that game that our D-line can out-handle their O-line. And so whenever they got down, it was nerve-wracking, but I had belief in our kids to stand. And one more thing.
No, go ahead.
They called a timeout right before that play, I guess to put in the touch play. And at the beginning of the season, we put in goals. So all of our kids had a goal in mind, which most of them were parish champs. And I told them coming out of that timeout, believe in your goal. What is your goal? To fire them up. That's our goal. That's the goal we set. That's the bar we set.
That's amazing, man. I got chills listening to you say that.
Yeah.
Coach, I don't know how it works. On the middle school side, do you play 1 overtime, 2? Like, is there ever any point where they say, hey, it's a tie? Like, what's going on there? Do you just play until someone wins? How does that work?
That's a very good question. I don't have an answer to that
That's
question.
it. I didn't know either. I didn't even know what the format was until I saw it in your game.
I had to ask the ref what the format was. I know we had an overtime game last year.
I think if it's a tie. I think if it's a tie after overtime, after the first overtime, it's game.
That's what I thought it was too.
Yeah.
Okay, so one overtime, and then if not, it's a wash. Okay, wow.
Hey, Coach, I know y'all meet every year as an organization, a middle school athletic organization. Maybe is that something y'all want to bring up and let's have a winner? You know, we're talking about with the NFL, with the tie. You play in a game, somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. And hopefully all this tie stuff can be.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. Let's have a winner. Let's figure something out. I agree with that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Years back, it used to be, in Trucks days, it used to be on first downs. If it was a tie game, the team that had the most first downs won.
I just got clarification, and this is from Ashton. You're familiar with Ashton. It's a second overtime, and it's over in middle school. So 2 overtimes, then a wrap.
Okay.
So now we know. Learning things on the go.
Well, not so fast, Coach.
You don't think Ashton's right?
No, I believe Coach. I think it's one and done. But, yeah, and look, this coming week you'll have 6th Ward.
Yes, sir.
How has the team been preparing for this next game?
It's kind of been doing the same thing we've been doing. You know, if it's not broke, don't fix it sort of mentality. We've been watching film, which I think is another thing Coach Ryan harps on, I harp on. I know him from a defensive standpoint, myself from an offensive standpoint. Just watching film on 6th Ward, but getting the kids, like, you're not just watching the game, you're analyzing their plays, you know. You might watch one play 10 times, and every time you're looking at something different, whether it's the blocking schemes or, you know, the running backs, what are they doing, the quarterback. And I think that's paid off a lot for us this year. We've both had kids come to us with their notebooks full of they're watching film on their own, diagramming plays. And so I think that goes a long way in the games. You know, they're sort of like another coach on the field. So
the film, that's do y'all have huddle? Or
no, sir, we don't. We rely on y'all. We've been watching. We've been watching you guys.
Hey, let me ask you this, bro. You guys have really taken this community by storm. I got so many people that are messaging me like, "Hey, man, when's the next Lockport game? You know, oh my God, can you believe it? They're 3-0. They're doing great things." You guys are like a traveling rock band right now. Got so much steam, so much momentum. How cool is that? Like, I imagine the vibe on game day on campus. Those boys must be carrying themselves like, man, like, let's go. Like, the confidence must be so high right now.
It is, man. It's amazing. I think it was 1988 was the last time Lockport's won a parish championship.
That's amazing.
So it is amazing, but at the same time, I want to make sure my kids are grounded, you know, because, like I said, we have 4 challenging games ahead of us, and we want to, you know, keep our eyes on the ultimate prize. So we definitely don't want to have a letdown these last 4 weeks.
Were you born in 88?
I was 1 year old.
Wow.
I was 4, so.
Yeah, right.
They got a man with gray hair the last time.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This guy, I don't think he was even born yet.
But let me tell y'all a secret. He was in his 50s.
No, you're kidding me, man. No, but so you got 6th Ward coming up. Who's the next 2 games before the big one?
So we have 6th Ward, and then LCO is going to be our 8th grade night. And then we have Golden Meadow. And then we end, of course, with Raceland.
Hey, let me ask you this. Talk to me about, and I know he's sitting right in front of you, but Ryan's a young guy. He's just fresh out of playing ball. Like, to have a coach that young that could relate to the kids, and obviously we hear him, he's very well-spoken, knows his stuff. Like, that's got to bring a different element, because it's one thing when, you know, a 30-something or 40-something, the guy that's at the age could be their dad says something. It's another thing when guys say be the age of maybe their older brother says something. Just kind of could relate to them in a different way, right? Absolutely, man. They definitely relate to Coach Ryan in a different way than they do to me. Also, the game has changed so much since I last played. He's way more familiar with the game and how it's played today. So, yeah, definitely the kids see Ryan as someone that they can look up to and aspire to be like. Absolutely. More so than myself. So, and Coach, talk about how things have changed coaching-wise with the dedication, because you have to do things in the summer now. If you don't do things in a summer conditioner or weightlifting,
you can be behind the curve. You could be behind when the first day of school starts.
Yeah, absolutely. I know when I played, it was junior high back then, where there was no summer conditioning or anything like that. So, yeah, you definitely got to put your work in during the summer. We talked to the kids, too, about that. The football season, most of it is prep. You know, once we get to the actual games, it's over so fast. You know, you have all those months ahead of time where you're conditioning, lifting weights, and once the season starts, it's over in a blink of an eye. So just harping that to the kids, let them know, especially the 8th graders, you know, this is going to be over before you know it. And so just to enjoy it while it lasts.
Let me ask you this. I know you guys have a very special quarterback in Noah Wiley, but I want you to shout out some of your other starters and key playmakers on either side of the ball. It doesn't matter. I mean, I know you're going to leave some out. That's just how it works. But as many of them as you can, because I want the world to hear the names of some of those boys making plays.
I have one special kid. He's a cornerback, Dex Abear. He has really exceeded. He's grown, but he's exceeded really well. I remember we just threw him in Raceland, and he made probably half our tackles.
That's awesome.
And he just keeps on getting better and better and better as a player. Jackson Arnold,
that's
another
the name I remember
cornerback.
from last year.
And our whole D-line, they have been playing amazing. So I can't really single them out, but our whole D-line from the backups, they've been playing really good.
Well, I'm the head coach, but I'm also the offensive line coach, so I got to mention my offensive linemen. Vincent Lusko, center. I got my left guard, Easton Guidry, left tackle, Jay Sean Bolden, right guard, Brody Carmadale, and right tackle, Oliver Dufresne. Those guys have come a long way, and they are a huge reason why we are as successful as we've been. Also, our running backs, Alik Coy and Javari Poindexter. Dex also on the offensive side has been killing it at the slot receiver position. So just as a team, man, that's just a special group of kids, this 8th grade group we have.
Coach Narkamp, talk about you coming in as a young coach. What are some things that you're seeing now, some duties that you may have to do as a coach that when you were a player you had no idea?
Yeah, definitely. As a player, I just thought everything was a joke. And as a coach, now you see why you take these little things so much serious, because it can relate in the game, as I have seen. Attitudes, I regret every attitude I gave, because the attitudes, it makes you a worse player. Like, you think attitudes should, I guess, make you play harder as a kid or growing up, but attitudes, that's probably the biggest thing that I regret doing as a younger one.
Do you now wish that you could hit rewind, go back 6 years into the past and do it over?
Definitely. I would get a much better attitude from my coaches, because I see all the stuff they go through day by day, because it's a struggle.
Yeah. And that's something that you can relate to your guys, that
yes.
You tell them, if I would have known this when I was playing, and now they have somebody who went through it that they can relate to, that's going to help.
Yeah, I try to relate to my kids as much as I can about what I did wrong. And I always tell, I don't care what position I play, I always tell them, be better than me. I want you to exceed better than what I did or what I accomplished. That's...
Hey, let me ask you this, Coach. We had Coach Bourne on earlier in the program, and he was telling us, he said, hey, look, we're rooting for Raceland and Lockport. And look, I mean, obviously when they play, they're trying to take you guys down, but we're rooting for those guys. Coach Wiltz told us the same thing, said, look, we think what Lockport's doing is awesome. It's really cool to me, the fact that in the Central Lafourche community, yeah, there's rivalries, and you guys want to beat one another when you play, but there's also that understanding of, like, in a couple years, when these guys are in green and gold, it might be really, really special. And it's really cool that community has that momentum, and everybody's just all kind of pulling in the same direction right now.
Yeah, man, absolutely. We definitely root for Bayou Blue and Raceland, of course, when we don't play them, on the weeks we don't play them. We definitely want to see them win and be successful, because we know that's the future. Every year we play Raceland last, and we always have Coach Pop come talk to the kids and lets them know, like, okay, from now on, you guys are now teammates. And so that's what it's all about. The whole point of what we're doing in middle school is to prepare those guys for high school. So yeah, it's great when we're all doing well.
And Coach, 3 weeks to go, and we keep on bringing up the last game. I know you guys are next game and one game at a time, but you got some teams that y'all playing that are pretty good coming up in this 3-week stretch. So how you keep, telling your kids not to look ahead and prepare, because if not, they'll come up and bite you.
Absolutely, man. We know the down to Bayou teams are going to be a struggle. Tomorrow we're going to have a challenge as well with 6th Ward. Watching their tape, they had made some very explosive plays. They play tough defense. So it's just constantly harping on those kids, keep your eyes on the prize.
What's the one area, because I know coaches are never satisfied, what's the one area right now that whenever you are waking up in the middle of the night, you're saying, God, that's in practice, we got to do this well? What's the one thing?
Coming from me, it's always blocking. So I'm like I tell the kids, we never ran a play perfectly where everybody did exactly what they were supposed to do, and it's always just that pursuit of perfection. You never quite get there, but I always start with the blocking. Do you want to?
Yeah, on the defensive side, even though you guys are playing lights out, what are some areas you're working on?
Like I said, the turnovers, causing turnovers, and tackling. We've been doing really well tackling. We put in a new tackling system with hitting low, but also grabbing the legs and turning, because a lot of that's what breaks it. That's what if you don't have your legs, you can't run.
Yeah.
So that's what we've been harping on.
You see how I can ask this. Or you're a teacher at school? You going to be a teacher? Or
I'm attending Nichols to be a teacher right now.
Okay. So you're a full-time student at Nichols, and still have time to coach and prepare.
Yes, sir.
I say he was playing 2 years ago, literally.
Yeah.
Man, I'm old.
It's just the love of the game that brings you back every time.
No, I love it, man. I love it. Keep doing what you're doing.
And Coach, to have someone like this on your staff where you his mentor. I mean, he's going to look up to you, and just to have that kind of responsibility that's put on you as being a mentor.
Yeah, I'm not really too worried about that. I think this man, whether he looks up to me or whoever he looks up to, I think he's going to be successful in his life. I think he's going to be a great future coach, a future head coach, and I just hope it's going to be at Lockport Middle School.
There you go.
And we do need more of the younger kids coming up to be coaches. And
yeah, man, and he's so dedicated. Like, he's never missed a practice. He's the guy that I can really rely on. And it's not just him, but my whole staff. I was blessed this year to fall into this, and I have a great group of coaches with me. Definitely wouldn't be this without them, so definitely happy.
And just remember, you are always a teacher first.
On the field, man, that's what coaches, that's what they are, and they're the best teachers, the coaches.
100%. You look at the good coaches, they are great teachers. If you can't teach the game, or you're not going to be a good coach. So you always, and your job is going to be hard as a teacher, not as a coach first. You are a teacher first.
So whenever Coach Allen asked me about this job, the first thing I thought of was getting these kids better and prepared for Central. Because I'm just coming out of Central, I knew what to expect. So that was my first instinct, was teaching them what to expect when they go to Central.
That's amazing.
And if they can learn at a younger age that they are a student first and that they have to get the grade so that they can stay eligible, that's going to help y'all out, of course, and it's going to help Central Lafourche out.
Yeah, that kind of goes back to what we were saying with the plays that they're diagramming in their notebooks. This group is definitely students of the game. So,
Truck was asking what position you play. You are a linebacker, correct?
Yeah. I play linebacker.
And on basketball, like forward, power forward, coming.
Yeah, I play like middleman.
Yeah. Okay.
Either or, whichever they put me at.
Okay, sounds good.
Coach, this week go ahead and wrap things up for us with time, place, and opponent.
We play 6th Ward tomorrow, 6 o'clock at Central Lafourche.
Well, Coach, best of luck. We're going to be back here on October the 13th. We'll have you on again. Hopefully it could be getting closer and closer to preview that big matchup at the end of the season.
Yes, sir.
Keep
All
the
right.
train rolling, boys.
Best of luck the rest of the year. That was Coach Jacob Roby, Coach Ryan Nakan. Look, doing a great job at Lockport, getting these kids ready for high school level at Central Lafourche. Let's go ahead and take a break. We're going to take a 2-minute break because we have Coach Alan Wilkes in the house, and we'll have him on next right here on KLEB. Welcome back to Inside Trojan Athletics. Coach Brian Callais here with Casey Gisclair. Talking some middle school sports right now. We're going to continue our talk with Coach Alan Wilkes, the head football coach at Raceland Middle School. Coach, how we doing this evening?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, guys?
Doing great. You had a volleyball game earlier.
Not so good.
Not so good?
Yeah, no. LCO is a very talented team. They came in and won 2 sets of nothing. We saw some good little sparks here and there, but LCO just too much for Raceland today.
Well, let's move on to football. Coach, since the last time you were on here, you had 2 football games. Just walk us through those 2 games.
Yeah, the most recent being 6th Ward. 6th Ward, we were able to kind of do what we needed to get through healthy. Got a lot of kids some reps, some kids that normally may not touch the ball. We had 6 different kids score a touchdown.
Wow.
So that's a great thing to kind of boost their morale and to kind of set them up for the future. So that was a great thing for the 6th Ward game. And then before that, we didn't talk about Edie White. I guess we talked about Edie White on the radio. Play-by-play.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, when we went into that game against Edie White, I didn't expect 32 to nothing. The way that kind of came about is I just think we were more physical. I know they had some kids down, and look, if you want bulletin board material, Raceland has all the bulletin board material right now. Every school has had some type of issue or complaint or this, that, the other. I just use it for fuel. And right now, after the Edie White game, and I heard a lot of people say that game didn't matter because so-and-so wasn't playing.
Oh.
I'll go down the list. If you want a list of my guys that aren't playing right now, we could play that game. But I don't play that game. And I'm really proud of the way our kids are resilient. And I think that's what we're starting to build up more than anything. I think that the fact that we've won 3 in a row, and if you tie into last year, we won, 4 in a row. So we've won 7 in a row looking back. And to do that at Raceland, I think is an accomplishment on its own because a lot of times we shoot ourselves in the foot a lot. But we're not doing that this year. And yes, we've lost some players and we've had some things happen, but we're ready. Those 2 games are only going to build us and get us ready for going forward.
Coach, we talked on play-by-play where you said you'll kind of have a mini bye from last week to this week. How did y'all handle that mini bye?
So one of the things that we did an install of some new plays today. We know that everything's on film nowadays. It's between social media, YouTube, and what have you. So we did a little install of some new stuff today just to kind of give us some wrinkles. You hit them with the right hand enough times, you got to hit them with that counter a little bit more often, especially later in the season. So we did that. We worked on a lot of individual skill position stuff, conditioning, and then we did some more twos. I got to run a lot more second offense. After I got them on film, our second offense against Sixth Ward, we could show them things that they need to fix. So it's been a really productive 10 days is what we'll end up having in between games. But then right after that, we go from a Thursday, Tuesday. Oh. So we're going to play a Thursday game against LCO and then wrap around and hit the Tuesday against Bayou Blue. So we don't have much rest in between. A lot of stuff that we're doing is we're building on for 2 games. So
let me ask you this, man. You guys have to be, in a sense, almost walking on eggshells. And what I mean by that is you guys have a tremendous team. You only got 28 of them. Yep. You know any number of injuries. If you have 4 kids who go down, you're down to 24 kids. So talk to me about the process of practicing them and preparing them, but also making sure that they get to the finish line.
Something I did a few years ago was I got rid of the just heads-on tackling so much. And when it came to doing ones versus like scout team, we do a lot more wrapping up. But the one thing that we do is tackle wheels. Like we use tackle wheels like crazy. We also have something that's like we call it the Death Star. It's got 4 prongs, and you have to tackle it. It's much heavier than a tackle wheel, but it only will get tackled if you hit it with a certain amount of leverage. So that's what we're doing as far as trying to keep the body count down when it comes to little knick-knack injuries. But for now, knock on wood. And
you didn't even trust the plastic table.
I'm not going. I need the luck on my side. So,
well, I'm sure this is going to be a crazy coming up month for you, where you're going to start analyzing every little thing. It's going to drive you crazy.
Yes, I mentioned this to y'all last time we talked, but I'll say it again. Look, I'll go from practice to a game, and then I'll watch film till about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. The wife will start texting like, "Hey, you coming to bed tonight?" And sometimes the couch is your friend during the football season because you're trying to catch up on so much, especially with the team we got. Look, at Raceland, we don't have this every other year like LCO, Thibodeau, Edie White. This comes around once every 5 years where we got a shot to win the big one, and we know it now. I mean, the writing's on the wall. We have some important dates that we don't get to that finish line unless we complete these things at those certain dates, that being first LCO. But we're getting ready, and we're looking forward to the challenge.
What are some things you're seeing with LCO in your game coming up on Thursday?
Well, I mean, they gave us fits last year with their shifts and their just overall play. They're always going to be physical in between the tackles. They're shifting. If you don't move with them, you'll get caught out of position. They'll have better angles to block. And then defensively, they have a great front. They're going with a 5-3 mostly. I'm not expecting to see a 5-3 and a 4-4 when we go wide or spread it out. So LCO, great coaching, great tradition down there. we're looking forward to the challenge, and I expect us to play them well this time.
Coach, let me ask you this, man. Do you know when was the last time you guys won the parish championship? Coach Bourne said he thought it was 1991 was the last time a team in the Central Lafourche area had won the parish championship.
2001.
2001. Okay, 2001. That was the year that he said.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The other coach said 1989 for Lockport, but he did say 2001.
Yeah, 2001, and I think before that was 1994.
Okay, so it's been a little bit. None of these kids were born when it happened last.
Yeah.
How do you get them to understand, like, bro, this is an opportunity to do something that hasn't been done in a really long time?
Well, I mean, one of the big things that I talk to them about when it comes to these long-term goals is, guys, I've been here for, this will be my 11th year, and we've never done it. We've got to second place 5 times. And I think that's an accomplishment. I mean, we're at a small school. To come out second place is a big deal, but we've never been able to hold that trophy up. And I've done it plenty of times in basketball, but I can tell you right now, there's a spot in me that will not be fulfilled until that championship is held up above my head. So I'm looking forward to going after it. As far as they go, I do mention out some names every once in a while, and they're like, "That's my dad," you know? And I'm like, "Yeah, it's been a while since we won." So, they're related to a lot of guys. One of the things that we did do since I took over the last few years is I took all the championship teams that we've had, which I think is 6 or 7, going back to Carol Rogers' days, up to current times, and I hung up all the rosters, and there's pictures of our history in our weight room. So they'll come and point at me at this picture from 1985, and they'll ask me, "Coach, were you on that team?" I'm like, "Watch them out, boy." No, I was born in 1985. I wasn't playing in 1985.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that. All right, hey, look, man, coming into the next matchup, what are some things you guys are working on and are trying to get better at?
Passing game. I think our running game, we're averaging about 7 yards a carry right now, which bumped up a lot since we played Golden Meadow. I'll tell you this: looking back, Golden Meadow was a heck of a team. They're gonna get noticed the more and more we go down the road. So, like, looking back at all this film and what we're doing, we went 1 of 6 passing the ball against Golden Meadow. We only threw the ball twice against 6th Ward. But overall, I think if we can improve our passing game, that's going to help our running game out tremendously, because you'll have to respect to spread the field out a little bit more. It'll open up some running lanes.
Well, for our next show, y'all have, LCO on Thursday. Is it 6th Ward, you said? Or
Bayou Blue.
Bayou Blue the next week.
Yep.
And who's the next?
The week after that is our bye week. Everybody has a fall break, and nobody has a game scheduled for the October 12th to 16th range. Then we come back and play Thibodaux at Thibodaux on the 22nd of October. So that's going to be a big boy matchup, followed by another big boy matchup, Lockport, October 28th.
Look, we here talking that these two teams are going to be undefeated. They got some pretty darn good teams to play.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's no reason for us to say undefeated going out. No. We have some tough matchups. Yeah. Like I said, LCO beat us already last year, so we're trying to avenge that. Bayou Blue, I know they're in a rebuilding year, so I definitely respect what they're doing. But look, they had a tough game against Golden Meadow. I thought they played them tremendously, especially on the defensive side. And then, look, Thibodaux, they're Thibodaux. You know that they're coming after you. Then you know that Coach Riley's going to have them boys ready. And there's a rivalry between our kids and their kids. And sometimes getting them kids' minds right for games like that is tough. And some kids like to look ahead, and they start looking ahead at that Lockport game. So, no, we have a tremendous challenge in front of us. It's not just like a walk in the park all the way to the end of the season.
You know what's crazy is that the way it's falling, it's almost like you're getting your playoff. And that you would play Thibodaux, and then maybe it could fall to where it
looks like I know that as much as we talked about it on the show, like it looks like the best. And you have Edie White playing against Thibodaux, their last game of the season as well. Yeah. So it's the matchups are going to pick back up towards the end of the season, and it kind of does have that playoff feel to it. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Wow.
It's
Good month coming up.
Yeah, it's a great month of
Very
middle school football.
Fun month. Well, Coach, thanks so much for joining us. We're back here in 2 weeks.
I'll be
where
here.
we're going to be talking, hopefully, a couple more Cub wins.
Yep, I hope so. I appreciate it, guys.
All right, that was Coach Alan Wiltz. Does a great job at Raceland Middle School. They got some guys, some teams they got to play in the next month
Yeah, they do.
to determine who's going to come out with this parish championship. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we get back, we're going to talk some Trojan football, Central Lafourche Trojans, right here on KLEB.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Back to Inside Trojan Athletics. We're here at Beck's on the Bayou till about 8 o'clock talking some middle school athletics, and we're going to be talking some Trojan football in this segment. Coach Lee joins us at the table. Coach, how we doing?
Doing, guys. How y'all doing?
Good. Look, we had Coach Pop on since the game 2 weeks ago at South Lafourche. Let's go ahead and talk about that one just a little. Defenses seem to be having trouble stopping the offenses, but the offense, y'all were moving the ball, and y'all played well enough to win that game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just talk about that outcome.
Yeah, so defensively, I think we talked about it last time, how we have some converted linebackers down playing the defensive line. We have converted safeties playing linebacker, so the matchup, we're trying to match up speed with size at that point. And we discussed that, the keys to South was meathead, want to hit you and pound you, and particularly those two big linemen, in their center, y'all center looked, phenomenal out there. I mean, y'all look great. And so it's just trying to overcome speed with size at that point. And a lot of times those D linemen were getting overwhelmed, especially when we lost Vic Ellis, in the first quarter or second quarter. That was a big hit for us because he's our meat and potatoes on that defensive line, and just getting him back in that game was kind of a heartbreaker for our D line. So now we're platooning offensive linemen in there trying to make it work to get guys in there and scheme it up, and just like we talked about, the battle needs to be won in the trenches, and their trenches are better than ours that day.
And take us through that game where an opposing running back had 36 carries and just trying to stop him. Y'all must have been so frustrated.
Well, yeah, I mean, so I wouldn't say frustrated. Well, okay, looking back at the game, right, as a fan of football, it was an awesome thing to see, right? And we mentioned that, that Dara was never going to tap. It's just not in his body to tap, right? It don't matter how tired he was going to run and run and run. It didn't matter how hard a yard was going to be. He was going to try to get that yard. And, I think at first, because the way we schemed, they came opposite of our scheme, basically, right? So we're trying to adjust fire and move guys around in our scheme to kind of at least slow it down there. And it didn't take until the second half for us to try a couple different other things down and realize, let's pinch it out and let's try to make that guy. Well, which we always wanted him to run laterally, right? But we would struggle. It's hard for him to run. You don't have to run laterally when your offensive line is pushing our guys off the ball a couple yards, right? Resetting that line of scrimmage, and we wasn't squeezing down hard enough. And once our guys settled in and realized, hey, listen, he's never going to get tired. It's not one of those things that we can just wait. Okay, let's let him get a couple yards and they'll put somebody else in. That's not the way it works. We got to tackle him, right? And getting the kids in that mindset, we had the goal line stand, and when they realize they got a goal line stand and this can happen, unfortunately it's all the way late in the game, but when they realize, hey, this can happen, they kind of started getting their feet under them again, build their confidence. Again, to me it wasn't frustrating. Like at the time I was frustrated. I know some of the kids might have been frustrated, but looking back at the game, it's an amazing sight to see that young man better do that.
The Ellison kid, I know he fought so hard to come back and then he goes down. Is this a situation where maybe he could get back this year, or was the news not good?
Look, I don't know. Honestly, the last report I saw, we're still in a waiting game. He has to go see undergo more formal observation to see what's wrong with it. Yeah. Right now, I think last I heard was we're looking at an MCL sprain. Right. So I mean, he's not coming anytime soon.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Coach, after the South Lafourche game, y'all hosted Thibodaux. Talk about that game. It looks like they just took it to you guys.
Yeah, so you go from a big, I don't want to call South slower, right? Because they're not slow, right? But it's two different types of teams, right? Thibodaux got some athletes, and there's no way around that. Another unique aspect of Thibodaux, though, that matched up well with us is because they're a little bit smaller, right? We figured, okay, we can match a little bit more smaller, speed on speed. But what's interesting with us and Thibodaux is South has always been our rivals, but we have so many kids on the teams that their families live in Thibodaux, right? So there's a lot of inter-family strife going there, right? And a lot of people that went to Central live in Thibodaux now and vice versa. So it almost seems like that's more of a rival these days. Of course, we have a coach from Thibodaux, right? So that thing was coming up. And going into the half, so they score right out the gun. Arguably a hole, right? But you can't see everything out there, right? We get on the boys settle down, and we go in the half. Right before the half, if we put one block on a play, we score before the half. The score was 14-19 going into the half, right? But it's not. It's 19-6 going into the half, right? It changed the whole dynamic, right? We kind of go into that mode of like, crap, we can't move the ball. And I know the boys just kind of, I don't know, they came out with a different intensity, right? Yeah. In the first half, they never fell flat. I mean, we struggled to move the ball. Defensively, we were not great, but we were there. We stuck with them, and we matched up with the guys. And when we came out in the second half, and they get the ball and they drive down and they score, it's almost like something just like it took the wind out of the boys. But I would say that the Warriors that stayed in and kept with it, you know, they just balled and they balled and they balled. And we had some kids that should have came out because they were getting banged up, and they just stayed in, and because their mentality was, we're not going down without a fight, you know. So they wanted, like the old Coach Grove mentality, you know, we might lose, but you're going to remember you played this type of situation.
And that mentality has to help you guys for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. You know, we got those seniors, right? I mean, that's trying to lead the team, right? They're trying to go through there. And these hard games, these hard losses, a close loss, hard loss, and then I would go from a half where we can win a game to a blowout at the end of the game. That's two hard losses for seniors to overcome. And, you know, arguably our seniors took it the best. You know, they were the ones a little bit more focused on the Saturday when they came back in.
Let me ask you this, man. Coaching on that defensive side, facing now a veer offense. Everybody now is in the shotgun. This week is going to be more on the center, more assignment football. How do you make sure that they're, A, ready for that, but then, B, also, how do you replicate it in practice? Because it's going to be hard for y'all to run it the same way they do. They've been running it all year.
Well, yeah, so the veer, right? I mean, everybody looks at the veer. It's an obsolete offense, right? People can say it all day long, but Coach JT still runs it,
right?
You know, right. And he made a joke about it. If anybody doesn't know, by the way, we run a veer, right? It works for a reason. Pop kind of hit it on the head. It's almost like a Colt, right? Like the people that run the veer, run the triple, that's what they do. They live and they die by it. At the end of the day, what we told the boys today is it's kind of, you have to have the mentality of that fight that you had against South. That, listen, it don't matter what size backs they had, what kind of linemen they had. They're coming to pound it every single play. They want 3 yards to 4 yards every single play, and they're willing to just get that little bit and get that little bit and get that little bit to pop a big one, you know. And so the boys have to stay disciplined in what their reads are and what their keys are. The biggest thing that kind of helped us to so far has helped us to kind of go through this, because apparently Central ran this offense for like 6 years.
Yeah, back in the day, sure did.
So Pop's fix to this is we don't run the offense with a ball, right? So scout team offense, when we were practicing scout team offense, we go with no ball. You're going to tackle your key, hands down. That's it. And which we need anyway, because if you haven't seen our last 2 games, we struggle with tackling. So now that we can start getting on there and tackling and getting that, it's helping us out.
And it's funny you mentioned that it's a cult, because when the wing T was down here, that was a cult.
Yes.
Rick Gailey. I mean, Nessie Pierce would run it, and that was a cult that they had. So it's crazy how these offenses just kind of revolve.
Cyclical.
Yeah. Coach, how was the attitude of the kids after, you lose in the South and lose to Thibodeau? The season's not lost. I mean, we're not even halfway done with it.
Yeah, so going back to those seniors, I want to say there was some concern that those seniors would want to take a lead role, but those young men came into a starting position as 10th graders, most of them, when they wasn't quite ready to be at a varsity spot yet, right? They could have played some more JV, but they were phenomenal freshmen. They were tearing up and down the bayou, all in the area. They were doing really well. So they had to get pulled up because their first year we only had 6 seniors, right? So they're getting pulled up, and I think they got pulled up a little quick. So they got thrown into the frying pan really early. And so their whole time at Central has just been playing and just trying to just do what they can. When as freshmen they were so successful, and they get up to varsity, I think they had to go through so much strife to figure out who am I as a leader and who are we as a team to keep on going, right? And honestly, the last 2 or 3 games since the Vanderbilt game, I think the Vanderbilt game, those guys were pretty beat down, in my opinion. But since then, they have been more progressively getting better at being leaders. They're inserting themselves more. They're trying to do more, and they do like every other senior. Every senior wants to play both ways because they know it's the end.
Yeah.
There's a few kids that get a look somewhere else, but for the most part, those seniors are all in. The ones that are out there, they just want to do whatever they can to help win a football game.
Look, man, Coach and I were talking about this actually before we got on the air. This is a big part of your season. You're 1-3. You got a 1A school in Central Catholic, so numbers game there. Then you got East St. John, who's winless. You got a chance in the next couple weeks to get right back to 500. if you do that, you'll be in the top 28 of the power ratings because you're 29th right now. This is a big 2 weeks for the team, is it not?
Absolutely. Well, we talk about the South Lafourche game. It's a must-win for us, right? Because we don't always know what we're going to win because we're already injury prone already, right? The last 2 years we've been injury prone, and
Sure.
we can use it as an excuse or whatnot. But I mean, I'm already platooning offensive linemen through my defensive line at this point, right? Because I just don't have the guys, and so. You don't know what the end of the season is going to carry with it and the longevity what we have, right? When we put the freshmen out there, we have a large football team. When we don't have freshmen out there and it's just varsity, we're sitting with a pretty solid 4A football team, size-wise.
Yeah.
So the attrition really gets to us, and so that's why all those wins in the beginning of the season matter, because the more wins you can get in that beginning of that season, the more we have, the higher chance we have of making that playoff run that we're trying to make. But 100%, that's the outlook we have as the coaches for sure, and we're trying to put to the kids that listen. Yeah, we can sit here and say every game is a must-win, right? But it's every priority is everybody wants to win, and if everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. But if we get to 500 at this point, that ball starts rolling, right, and it starts snowballing, and the kids start believing that they can win because they can. They really can.
Look, I have a question. I watched a little bit of the Thibodeau game. Cleveland got out of it, I think, healthy. You can maybe enlighten me, but he did get beat up. How do you guys keep him upright? Because he took some wicked licks from that Thibodeau defense.
Okay, let me go back to this real quick. Talk about the standings. I want to say we actually went up in the standings even though we took a loss. It's kind of an interesting thing the way that works.
It is crazy how it works.
So going to Jeremy, I'm glad you mentioned Jeremy because I would like to mention another young man after that. With Jeremy, he's that spark that you never know what's going to happen, right? I think he's throwing the ball better than I've ever seen him throw the ball. He's making great decisions out there. He's probably the funniest kid on the team. And so his health, how do we keep him healthy, right? I think Jeremy Cleveland keeps himself healthy because Jeremy is going to do what he has to do to win a football game. He's one of those seniors just wants to win, right? And so we can sit there all day and say, Jeremy, don't take that ball, throw the ball to that guy, or hey, don't do this. And he's gonna throw his body out there every single time because he's just trying to do it for the team, right? And he's trying to do it for the future of him. So, in my opinion, we could wrap him in bubble wrap. We can stick him back there. We can put him all kind of stuff back there and say, just throw the ball. Jeremy's going to run, and Jeremy's going to take hits, and Jeremy's going to do Jeremy because he's an athlete, and that's what he wants to do.
It's like Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly would try to get Jaden Daniels to slide, and then Jaden Daniels would be like, no, coach, I'm good. Same thing, right?
And it like I said, every game he gets better and better with the scrambling and whatnot. He throws well on the run. He sees well on the field on the run, so he kind of wants to move that way. I think it'll help on our offensive line once they get a little bit more consistent where those gaps open because he likes to squirt through those little gaps. That'll help us out. But what else will help him too is there's the other young man I want to bring up. We talk about like Jeremy Cleveland, but we also got Tyreek Cooper out there. I mean,
he's a good football player.
He is soaring under the radar. I messaged his mom recently about that he has been such a huge leader this year, and he's grown in his personality and in his positive attitude. And he's just a no-quitting mentality on the field. There's never a time where he seems like I'm too tired to do something. He just wants to be out there. He helped us as some cornerback this last game, and he's willing to do everything he can do to be out there. And he's a kid that needs to be. He can run any route you want, and he came in for at South as a quarterback, right? When Jeremy went down, went out with a lick, went right back at receiver. So I mean. He's kind of soaring under the radar on Jeremy's shadow a little bit, but he is a phenomenal athlete that we have out there.
Coach, last time we talked with you, y'all had a meeting for Raceland. How's that progressed?
Actually, just left from practice to this evening. We can't really start truly training wrestling yet. We have a few gentlemen that went out and helped us out in wrestling because they're actually both from the same high school up north in like Baton Rouge area, and they both ended up on Bayou Lafourche some kind of way, and they're both helping us to coach wrestling. But we, the Terrebonne team was instrumental in helping us get us started. Relentless Martial Arts helped us get started. A lot of people around the area really wanted this thing to happen and got us started. And so we have Coach Seth Drago is going to take the head coaching gig, and he's going to. We're going into kind of what I like to call open kimono, right? Like we're going to do what we can do. And so we got consistently about 10 kids that show up to conditioning type training and just coming in there and trying to get exercise and running. We have like a weigh-in hydration test next month that the kids got to go to so they can safely cut weight over time. If that's something that we already told them we're not going to force them to cut weight, right? That's not what we want to do. But the league requires them to do a hydration test to monitor all that. So we're looking at probably having 15 to 20 kids already. How competitive? I don't know, right? Because it's so hard to go into a sport that you do your entire life, right? Kids do it from they're 5 years old or younger, and then we just throwing kids in there and saying, go at it, right?
But you have to start somewhere, and that's a good start, what y'all doing.
Absolutely. You know, we did the same thing with powerlifting 2 years ago, right? It's a little bit different because kids work out, right? I mean, so you're going to have stronger kids, and Coach Dugai and I run that program, and, you know, first year we had one state qualifier, and we didn't have to qualify for regionals. The next year we took almost the entire team to regionals, and you had to qualify for it. Had to be top 20 in the state. And we took, I think, 4 to state and had 2 runner-ups, right? So the program can explode. It just who falls in. But wrestling's such a great sport because it brings that extra kid out that may have not played in any other sport, you know, which is awesome.
Yeah, and it can give them the confidence. Then they can maybe go out for football the following year.
Yes. So Coach Jono over at Jesuit, right? I mean, I think they're 5-time in a row state champions. And he gave a conference, and what he mentioned was, his specific stuck in my head was, I don't care that your best technique is a single leg takedown. If that's what it is, then great. I wanted to teach you how to get to that single leg takedown from any player, anywhere on the mat, from the down position, from the up position, because when you leave and you get into the real world, I want you to find out what your best skill is, and you better attain that best skill, right?
It, yeah.
And so, and he goes, and I also love football, and he goes, and I like football players and the rest because they're aggressive, right? So I love how we're all working together on that aspect, right? Because that's what we do with the powerlifters, you know.
Look, man, jumping back to football really quick, I'm going to give you a chance to be a proud dad. We called your boy's name a bunch of times in that South Lafourche game. He's not the biggest kid in the world, but boy, he's not afraid to put his helmet in there. And I love watching him play, and I know he's a great young man. Shout out your boy, man.
Appreciate it, yeah. Journey's always made me proud. You know, like I told you all last time, it kind of sucks that like the only time I really get to watch him play is in film the next day. Yeah. But it is amazing, right? He's carrying on a legacy. I played at Central. His brother played at Central. So he's just trying to carry it on. But, you know, I love to take credit for all that, you know. But, you know, our lives, we lived overseas and we lived on bases our whole lives. And it came down to the individual. It was an awesome sight to see. Truck might better tell you, those kids could be swinging in the evening, and when they start taking the flag down and Colors is playing in the evening, all these kids jump off their swings and they all put their hand over their heart and those type of things. So people think kids are disciplined from a military parent being drama at home, and it's just a culture, right? And so going back to his play style, he's very sometimes robotic in his play style because he's just going to do what he's told to do, and he's disciplined. So like with DeVere this week, he's a dude we're going to rely on because we tell him, hey, you got to dive. He's going to kill the dive, whether you got the ball or not. Every single time that dude's getting a dive, right? So he just, I'm truly proud. I appreciate the shout out.
Absolutely, bro.
You know, he makes us proud for sure.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Coach, thanks so much for the time. We're going to have you guys on in 2 weeks, where hopefully we can be talking about 2 Trojan wins.
Yes. And
coming up to finish the season out strong and getting that top 28.
Absolutely, Jim. I think you appreciate your time.
All right, Coach Lee from Central Lafourche High School, the Trojan football team. Lug did a great job against the Tarpons, and
Yep. They're not far away, man.
They didn't go their way, but we'll see. Hopefully tomorrow and Friday and the next week, they can go ahead and get some victories. Next, we're going to have Coach Barry Plaisance, swim team coach. Coach, if we can get you up here.
Oh, rolling, no break?
Yeah,
right,
we're
cool.
going to roll.
Let's roll.
They had a swim meet today. I know the Trojan volleyball team also has a game today, and a lot of our middle schools volleyball. But, Coach, thanks for joining us this evening. How you guys did today to meet?
We did good today. Really, it was we've been doing well the last couple weeks, really, but today was the culmination of all the work that they put in. We had 3 records broken today.
Wow. Like school records?
School records.
Amazing, man.
Yeah. They did well. I mean, we have 6 girls and 4 boys qualified now. A lot of them are 2 or 3, 4-time qualified, but we have individually 6 girls and 4 boys. And some of our school records, actually, some of them are pretty old. The 200 freestyle relay women's between Bree Plaisance, Anna Ewing, Avery Belanger, and Lexi Grabert, 2 juniors, 2 freshmen. The old record was 2014. That's back, 11 years ago. They broke it by a second and a half. 155.10 was the old record. Today they went 153.65.
And no seniors on that group.
No seniors.
Wow, dang.
And then Avery Belanger broke 2 records today, 200 freestyle and 100 freestyle. She broke 2018 record, so 7 years old, by 2.5 seconds. And then she broke a 100 freestyle record, 17-year-old record.
Wow.
She beat it by 0.11 seconds. So you take any way you can get it. But these look, our young men and women, they are doing really well in the pool. I know we talked about it before. We really don't have a lot of kids, but the kids we do have are really pushing the pool real hard. They're doing really well.
And do you see the main thing is you want your team to qualify, boys and girls to qualify. Do you see at times where it's getting maybe later in the season? Could it be harder to qualify just based on maybe the weather? Like the pool may be a little cooler, and that could maybe slow them down?
Yeah, it definitely affects our swimming. We've been very fortunate, though, because a couple of our last meets have been in the same pool inside a building in Morgan City. That has helped. Our kids have got comfortable in the pool, and so they're really getting some good times. I mean, we had another individual boy qualified today for the first time all season. He got qualified in butterfly, and then we had an additional add-on with 50 freestyle for already qualified swimmers. So they really did well today.
As a coach, that must be something amazing to see is when a kid qualifies, just to see the excitement and their reaction.
It is. And listen, I'm going to be the first one to tell you, I played football and baseball at Central. I coached football and baseball in high school. This is only my second year of coaching swim. And listen, I'll tell you, I've coached NFL football players. Demario Davis is one of my last guys that I coached at Brandon High School in Mississippi. But I'll tell you, watching these kids swim and qualify, it makes me smile every time because they work their tails off for it. And I know the work they put in, and look, it shows. They're doing really well.
Yeah, and they know where they can't blame anyone.
There's nobody else.
Yeah,
just them. And I love that aspect. I love the team aspect as well, because they're swimming for each other.
Right.
But the biggest thing I've seen so far is really the change has been they're cheering each other on, even though they're racing each other. They're looking at each other like, you did it. Like, I mean, we had one girl waiting for the other girl to get out of the pool say, you did it. Yeah. Like, you broke the record today.
That's amazing, man.
And that's true leadership from our kids.
Now, look, I know down the Bayou they swim at the youth center. Up the Bayou they got that complex in Thibodaux. Excuse my ignorance. Where is you guys' home pool based out of?
Yeah, so we literally practice in somebody's backyard, a little 2-lane pool in Lockport. That's what we have. But, again, we do what we can, what we got, and but I mean, we swim at everybody else's pool, whether they're in La Rose, Cutoff, Morgan City, Bayou Black. I mean, everybody else has pretty good complexes, but I mean, we do what we can, what we got.
So there's no home base for you guys to like host a meet.
No, okay, we have no home pool.
I got you.
How many boys and girls you have left to qualify, if any?
I'd say maybe potentially one more girl. And there may be one more boy that could get qualified. I do think we could get a couple of them double qualified. And we only have a couple swim meets left to qualify. So all we have left is the parish meet and cutoff next week. And then a couple-week break. And then we swim for the district championship in Thibodaux Regional.
Wow, so it's pretty much the end of the season right here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, the state championship's in November. And there's a month gap. So we definitely are preparing ourselves for it, though. Our relays are starting to prepare for it. are individual. Like we getting very categorized on where we swimming them, how we swimming them in practice, and getting them ready for the state swim meet right now. Like that's the plan. Even 2 months away from now.
Hey, practice. How do you work on your relays?
So we do relay starts. We have blocks there at the pool. It is a small pool, but they do have everything. They have lane ropes, and we have the diving blocks. So we do it. We try to get the same 4 girls, but we intermix them and try to change them because it could change a little. But we work on it in practice where we can get our timing down.
How much strategy? Like I know in track or relay, you want to put the fastest one last, and you want to have your anchor leg. Like, how much strategy goes into configuring the order of a relay team?
Yeah, that's a loaded question because it's different for even boys and girls. But what you generally try to do, you want to put one of your better swimmers first, and then you want to start tapering them where you take the next best swimmer, and then you want to take. All right, the third one's going to be a real good swimmer, and the fourth one's going to be probably your best anchor, right? But with our boys and girls, I'm going to be honest with you, 1 through 4, we're solid.
It's about the same, huh?
It's really just about pick one. And we just go with it. Who feels comfortable starting a race? Who feels comfortable in the middle? I definitely know who our third and fourth are. I announced one of their names that just broke 2 records. Avery's been crushing it. But Lexi, I usually don't say too many times, and I gave you some times of what they broke records. And I told y'all probably about a month ago how fast these 2 young ladies are. Lexi Graubear went 26.9 today in a 50 freestyle.
That's insane.
we talking as 14-year-olds, both of these young ladies in the top 8 in the state in their times. They're quick.
That's amazing.
But to add to them, like I said, with the juniors that we have and them, they're just a solid group, and altogether they're real solid.
Well, with Casey's question, just to expand on it a little, where you're trying to look who's going to be first, second, third, or fourth, or you as a coach, are you looking for the fourth swimmer to be maybe let's say the fastest swimmer, or someone who's strong and closing?
Yeah, so you're really looking for that finisher, right? So that person that's going to swim fast with the person who's going to be the most competitive. Someone who can come back from behind and really take on the challenge. And that's what we look for. Boys or girls, it doesn't matter. And that's kind of what we have right now. It just depends sometimes, like later on in the events, sometimes I have to place that fourth swimmer because he just swam a race right before it.
Right.
So I'm going to give him that extra couple minutes just to recoup. And then he may not be the fastest swimmer, but he needed the time to recover.
I didn't even think about that. That's crazy.
So you got to look at someone that's, if you behind, that's going to swim, not pouting that the team's behind, somebody is going to try and go and catch up and win.
Yeah, it's a lot more strategy than we think. Just looking at it from the outside is definitely, it takes a little bit of getting used to and really setting them up for success. Again, I think for me, my background, I swim in a young age, but I think coaching other sports and learning how to coach helped me a bunch. I mean, the guys I coached with had 20-plus years experience. I was very fortunate. I was the little baby, and they took me under and said, I know you can play, I know you played baseball and football, but coaching it is completely different. I take that same mentality in the swim pool. It's coaching these kids, but I'm going to tell you, the one thing that I have them going right now is they know that I believe in them. They know that. And so it's not what you can't do, it's what you can do.
Sure.
And those kids have taken that on. It's been something to see. They have continued to improve every week, and I'm super proud of them.
Let me ask you this. We asked Coach Corey Callais down the Bayou. We said, Coach, have you made any connections with the 8th graders about to be 9th graders to try to let them know, like, hey, when you come to South, I want you to swim? And he said, absolutely he has. I'm going to ask you the same question. Looking at the middle schools, have you kind of rubbed elbows with some of those kids and said, hey, I want you to swim when you get to Central Lafourche?
Absolutely. I mean, we do it all summer long. My son's one of them next year. He's coming up as an 8th grader. He could help us right now. I mean, he's swimming 27-second freestyle right now. But he's in 8th grade, and I know some of his friends that swim, whether they're LaRose or Thibodeau, wherever they swim. I mean, I know who's coming. You definitely have to make that connection. It's such a small group of kids to choose from. you really got to go out. And I think what's happening with us, I think our success right now, to the people who are looking at us and saying, man, maybe I want to swim. That's what we're hoping for our sport to grow. Swimming is not, a sport that's on the radar for most people. But for us that are in it, you got to really love it. And these kids love it. I mean, they do.
That's awesome.
Coach, when the state meet comes around with your busy day job, will you be allowed? Can you make time to go up to that state meet?
Oh, yeah. Well, the good thing for us is Friday. So Friday evening we swim, and then Saturday evening. The good thing for us, town of Lockport closes on Friday, so I'll have my phone with me and I'll answer calls. But I mean, it's been really a blessing. It's one of the reasons why I can coach is because I have a little bit of latitude. I can make my own schedule. The town is very important, but also our swim team is important too. We practice, twice a day, and but it's been really it's been a juggling act, but it's been so much fun. I mean, these kids, to watch their smile come out of the pool when even if they didn't qualify, their personal best times. I can't tell you. I probably had 20 personal best times in the last 2 weeks. That's incredible.
That is amazing.
I mean, we took guys that never swam before 4 months ago, and they just came to practice in the summertime for our summer swim, and they were swimming 57 seconds, and now one of them swam today, swim 35 seconds.
Yeah, go.
I mean, I can't even tell you how much. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. That's amazing.
That's bigger than sports, man.
It is, and that's the thing. It's like anything else with sports. It's life. Tell me. My mentality is always tell me I can't do something and watch. Right? They told me I couldn't play college baseball. Guess what I did?
Yeah.
I had that mentality, and these kids have it too. They have really taken in, and it's really been something to see.
Coach, thanks so much for the time this evening. Best of luck in the next couple of weeks. We're going to have you on October 13th. I believe we're back here at Beck's. Okay. And hopefully we can be talking about a little more people qualifying for that state meet coming up.
Yeah, I hope so. Again, our parish meet is next weekend, or next Monday, sorry. And then we'll have a little gap, and then October 20th will be the district meet. So being cut off the next one, and then Thibodeau Regional for the district meet.
So we'll go ahead and preview that district meet on the 13th.
Yeah,
for the
it'll be
20th.
a preview for that. Yeah. And I think also for our next meet, it's going to be South Lafourche, the Lafourche Parish Schools, us, Thibodeau, South Lafourche, and I think E.D. White is going to show up and swim, which I think is awesome because just the competition that they bring to the pool. I love it. Our kids need competition. I think they'll thrive on it. I mean, we see the same teams every week. It's the same 3, 4, 5 teams. You kind of beating up on each other all week. So somebody new, and again, they'll push the pool real hard on us. So I think it'll be nothing but good for us.
Absolutely,
no doubt. Well, good luck, and we'll have you back on October 13th.
Thank y'all so much for doing this.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, brother.
All right, it was Coach Barry Plaisance with the Trojan swim team, getting more and more kids qualified for that state meet that's going to be coming up. Before we get out of here, I want to talk a little bit about the Lockport Park volleyball team. They placed second at the Central Lafourche High School Middle School Tournament on September 20th. They played 6 different matches. It has 14 games, and they went undefeated until the championship game. They placed third. They came out second. Then they placed third at the 3rd Annual Warrior Classic at Thibodeau Middle School on September 27th. They played strong in all of their matches, but fell in 3 sets in the semifinals to place third at that tournament. Some key players, Lila Grove, Jalen Adams had the most kills. Peyton Bergeron and Grace Wiley had several with service points. The girls have grit in the drive, and they found a rhythm that's working for their team. They have 4 district games left, 1 non-district game remaining, and they are trying to finish strong. I want to thank Coach Brandy Mathern. She couldn't be here tonight because they have a game against 6th Ward. So hoping that they come out victorious and wishing them nothing but the best.
Yeah, I have 2 middle school volleyball scoreboard updates, one involving a Central Lafourche area team. LCO beat Raceland, as we were talking about earlier. Thibodeau Middle School defeats Golden Meadow in 3 sets tonight. So Just a couple of volleyball scoreboard reports from around the area.
Right. That'll do it for us once again here at Beck's on the Bayou. Steak nights on Monday. Sports, steak and sports every other Monday here, or the steak night is every Monday. Sports every other Monday here at Beck's.
That was a good show, man. It was. We had a good time.
So far, Jason Plazon's back at the studio. Casey Gisclair, Truck Gisclair's Coach Brian Callais, wishing you all a very good evening. And reminder, we're back tomorrow, play-by-play, 12 noon to 2 o'clock on KLEB.